Hi there, welcome. Today I've got this sign that I thrifted. I always pick these up. They come in a variety of sizes. I like them because they're a nice solid base for all kinds of craft projects. And so I'm going to give this a couple of coats of black acrylic paint. I'm not going to worry too much about the coverage because I am going to be adding a photo in the center of this, or an ephemera in the center. And so I did give it 2 coats though, just to cover some of that lettering in case it didn't, in case it, showed through the edge of the photo. But now I'm just going to give it a quick little sanding, just really, really lightly around the very edges where the original sanding was, because I don't want to start to get into the lettering showing through. Okay, so I have this book that I recently got on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. I think it's really fantastic. It's some vintage ephemera, and I like to use these instead of printing out copies. It's all in one place. It's already chosen for me. And so what I found that I'm doing with these is, instead of creating a project and then finding a tag to go with it, I'll pick a tag that I'm interested in and then I'll build around that tag. It makes my creative process a lot more fun and these projects a lot easier for me to do. And so that is the vintage Christmas ephemera from Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. I'm using a small paper cutter for this one. I don't normally use paper cutters a lot. I like to have a little bit of a softer edge, but I am going to go with this one today for this project. A little bit of Mod Podge on the back, and we'll get this placed onto our box. Okay, so once we got that placed, I did want to mention that you'll notice I did not paint the sides of this box. I really liked the striping, and I thought it went really well with the ephemera that I chose, so I opted to leave it. Now I am going to protect this with some Mod Podge around the entire piece. That way I can go over it with some antiquing wax and not have any sticking to that original siding on the box or anything like that. I'm adding the Waverly antiquing wax to this, and you can see that I'm kind of blotting it around the edges as I go, just because it adds additional age without darkening the center too much. I don't want to turn that white into, I don't want it to darken too much. And so I just go around the edges, and it's kind of a fun little technique to do. So after I get the sides done, I'll go ahead and do the front as well. going to be adding a tart tin to the bottom of this just to make like a little stand. I thought it's super cute and it goes well with the overall vintage look of this project. So I'm just going to hot glue it. It just happens to be like the right width of this sign, and so it works out really great. I was very happy about that. Okay, so I'm just going to glue that down. Super cute, super easy. I'm going to use a piece of this ribbon from a previous video. I had made this from about a 1-inch strip of muslin and then painted it green with acrylic paint. You can make all your own ribbon as needed so they match your projects. And so I just had one little piece left over. I thought it went well with the green in the ephemera. So I just made a bow and tied it with a little piece of wire. Hot glue that on, and then I'm going to use a couple of buttons. What I did was I grabbed a black button there and a brownish button. It has like a little design on the top, and it looks very kind of antique, even though it's not. They're just plastic buttons. But when you stack them like this, it really adds a little bit of character. Of course, I had to thread that button, so I'm going to hot glue that to the top as well. And that is it for this project. Let me know what you guys think. For project number 3, I have this image here that I think will fit well in this tart tin. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cut out. I'm going to glue it down to a piece of chipboard and then cut that out as well. This gives me a lot of stability for these ephemera pieces. I do tend to use them like in assemblage type projects. And that way, I even use them with tags as well. You know, it gives your tags some stability, gives your ephemera project some stability. I love this chipboard. You get it off of Amazon as well. And so, okay, so I've got that cut out with the chipboard. I'm adding a little bit of brown ink for some visual interest to this. It definitely gives it an aged and antique look. I pre-drilled a hole and added a jump ring just so I can thread some twine through it for hanging. I'm using coconut fiber for the center of this. I did get this on Amazon as well. I usually always mention how much I love to use this coconut fiber. I really haven't used any moss in a while, and I don't plan to. I like this coconut fiber so much. It just stays where you put it. It's got a great color to it. And, you know, I wonder if you can paint this, like soak it in some acrylic and water and just give it a new color. I think I might try that coming up here on one of my next videos. So I don't know, we'll see. So I'm going to hot glue that down to the center. I wanted to make sure that it was thin enough to where you can still see the scalloping around the tart tin, because that definitely is a part of this whole look. And so it's already just adorable just like that. There's so many things you can add to the center of this. It's unbelievable, especially for Christmas. But I'm going to go ahead and hot glue that ephemera piece down. project number 3, I have this sage green frame that I thrifted from Goodwill for a couple of dollars. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove those tags and take everything out from the center. Then I have some material. It is, I think it's like an upholstery material. It's definitely not your typical ticking. It's a little bit thicker, but I thought it worked well for this. I love stripes. Anytime I can use them, I do. So I used the glass as a like a template to get the right size cut out, and I want to make sure that I get those stripes centered. And so I'm just gonna outline the glass there as a template and then get that cut out. I do want to tack this down very lightly right in the center so there's no shifting happening when I add this back into the frame. So I'm just using a little bit of hot glue, and then I decided to go around the edges as well. I definitely don't want this to shift on me. I want to keep it nice and centered. I'm going to choose another piece of ephemera from the same book, and I think this is a really easy way to add decor to your home for the holidays. This one is really cute as well, and it's super easy. I'm just going to add this to the center of our frame.